Hi there, my friends. Welcome again to Indian Story Read Along. Today's story is from, as you can see up at the top there, it says Amar Chitra Katha. This is from the Panchatantra tales, the big bumper issue they had back like 100 years ago in the 1980s and early 1990s, the first issue that they released like this. So I have one of those original ones that my family bought me when I was a kid. And this is called The King Elephant and the Mice. One thing you know about Panchatantra stories is that they always have some kind of a moral at the end, like something that you should learn from the story. I'm going to tell you that at the beginning and see if you see where that happens when you're listening and reading along with this story. Okay, the King Elephant and the Mice. One hot summer, all the rivers in a forest ran dry. The king elephant of a herd of elephants was worried. He's thinking, if I don't find some water soon, we all will die. Suddenly, one of his retinue, that means one of his herd, the group of elephants that's with him and following him, lumbered up to him. Lumbered means walking slowly like elephants do. Water! I know where we can get water. A bird told me that in a lake not far from here, there is enough water for 10 herds like ours. The king was relieved. He gave orders and the march began. You lead us, he says to that second elephant. We will follow. You know, that should actually tell you something about this king elephant in the first place, that he's very, here's a big word, he's very magnanimous. That means that he's generous with his spirit. So even though he's the king and he's supposed to be the leader all the time, he is telling this second elephant who came up to him and felt comfortable giving him that advice, he's like, you know what? You know where the thing is. You lead us. I'll follow you. And lots of kings and lots of leaders never do that. They don't have that, that openness about them. Toward noon, the elephants spotted the lake. Look, there it is. It's a nice, beautiful lake, enough for lots of elephants. And they charged toward the water, trampling everything in their wake, the way you would do if you're really, really super thirsty, hadn't had anything to drink for a long time. But look here, there's mice there that live near this lake, and they're all saying, run, run for your lives, elephants, it's a stampede. That means they're all thundering towards this lake. Among the victims were a number of mice who had burrowed a colony near the lake. Later, the mice that had managed to escape held a meeting. One of them had an idea. Why don't we go to the king of the herd and request him not to come this way again? An excellent idea, another one says. So there they are, they're going up to him. And you know what? A lot of mice, a lot of small people, like maybe even children, might think that they can't go up to a big person, like an adult, and give them their true ideas and tell them something that's they feel is wrong, because maybe that big person might not listen to them. And certainly these mice also ran that risk, but they needed to know, they wanted to see what kind of character this king elephant had, and they will be pleasantly surprised. They went to the king elephant, and then that one says, "Oh king, we have been living near this lake for generations. While your herd came charging this way, it trampled to death nearly half our clan. We beg of you." What do they beg of him? "Have mercy on us and find some other path to and from the lake. Spare our lives, small though we are. Someday we may prove useful to you." I hope I didn't sound like a witch. This guy go for a mouse. So like he's laughing in his head, all right? He might feel one way, but let's see what he says out loud. So there he has a silly look on his face. The king elephant goes, "Pah, how can these teeny weeny mice be useful to us?" But the elephant was kind-hearted. Kindness is in what you do. Remember that. It's what your actions are. "Set your minds at rest. I shall tell my herd to take another path." "Oh, king, we are grateful to you. If ever you need us, we shall be with you." When would they ever need them? As as he watched the grateful, happy mice scamper away, little did the king elephant realize how soon he would need them. And there they go. When is he ever going to need them? A few days later, as the elephants lumbered, there's that word again, lumbered, toward the lake as usual. Chee! It's a trap! Take care! Trappers are on our tail! And you guys might not know this if you're children, but even to this day, people trap elephants and they kill them and they harm them because they want parts of their body, because they think that they're valuable. Especially even hundreds of years ago, they used to take off elephants' tusks, their teeth, and then they were made of ivory and they used them to carve figurines, which is terrible. But that's why they hunted elephants, not to eat or anything, but to make stuff out of, which is really gross. So then 3 days later, the trappers came. So these elephants were stuck in nets for 3 days until the trappers came and pulled them out onto the shore. So then there's the king elephant being tied up, and he's thinking, I wonder how and with whose help we will be freed. But free ourselves we will. Suddenly he remembered the mice. My friends, the mice! Why didn't I think of them earlier? But how shall I send a message to them? That night, when one of the elephants who had escaped came to see the king, he says to him, go to the mice and tell them of our plight. That means tell them of our situation. As soon as the mice heard the elephant's story, we will come right away. Lead us to them. Hurry, hurry. So they took the elephant taxi. We must finish our task before dawn, before the trappers return. As soon as they reached the place where the elephants were tied up, they crawled down that trunk and they gnawed away at the ropes. Gnawed means chewed. And working all night, they set the elephants free before dawn. And then the king elephant is thinking how wise I was to have spared their lives, insignificant as they seemed. And there's the moral at the end. Never underestimate anybody, however small he may be. I like that for children. I used to tell my mom all that all the time. I read this book and I'm like, Mom, never underestimate anybody, no matter how small I might be. And it's true. I found that there are times that I impressed my mom when I was little, and there are so many times when my kids are impressing me every single day. So that's the end of this story. If you liked it, we will be reading more stories one by one from this book and other books as well that have morals to them, and all kinds of crazy things that I kept from when I was a kid. So join us again on Indian Story Read Along next time. All right, we'll see you then.